I don't want to walk. Someone carry me.
I just give you feedback right the entire time.
That would be great.
Question is, should I do it in this way or this way?
That's up to you.
I think I might do it
I
this
thought we
way.
were going to something big, like the dinosaur.
Good call, just give it right.
Hi.
No, I got, that's because I can't watch as many kids.
Sorry that I had to end the live again. But as soon as we got here, hello.
Are you guys going to the bathroom or what?
It just seems like most of us are waiting.
Are you guys waiting or no?
We're waiting.
For the bathroom?
My phone's stuck on Japanese. Dang.
Are any of you guys going to the
Her
bathroom?
phone got stuck in Japanese.
Okay, if you're not going to the bathroom, come this way. This is just people using the bathroom.
I gotta get back.
Hi, Lenny.
Yeah, but you gotta do the bathroom.
You have arrived at the museum? Yeah.
Live streaming again?
Yeah.
See, I want to.
Alright, hey, come on. We gotta make groups, guys. We're gonna go in 4 different groups.
We already know that.
Yeah, we gotta stick together. 2 groups of 9?
Yes, there's a chance that we can be included on it.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, I'll just watch your live stream the entire time.
Alright, hey, here we go.
Yeah, because I'm gonna do it after we are actually starting to leave.
Alright, hey
Then
guys,
I'll
listen
record
real
the
quick and then we'll break up and then we'll start going on the tour. Okay?
Okay, we got almost everybody here. That's fine. Okay. I would like to introduce you to Jane Beckwood. She is the director of the museum. And really, she is the reason why there's a museum here in Delta. So, take it away, Jane.
I have an Howie, so
Uh-oh,
I.
gotta get fixed first.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you would come. We, most of the people who are docents were teachers for a while, and we know how hard it is to get a substitute, get permission, and get out your parents. So, thank you to your teachers for bringing you here. And thank you for coming. I'm sure that you'll find something that's of interest to you. I don't have any real translation problems right now, but you can find some. We do have a book, but we're almost out of them. That is in Japanese and English. So, does your library have this?
I bought it last time.
Oh, did you?
I have it.
All right, good. So, Scott Bassett, who with you, is in charge of putting all the docents and the volunteers together, so he will get you started on your way.
Okay, good enough. So as your teacher mentioned, we'll have 4 groups, so 2 groups of 10 and 2 groups of 9. So I'll let you cut them off. First group will go with Esther.
Alright, so first group, let's just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I didn't think
7,
about
8.
this already.
Make it clap. What?
I didn't think of this already.
10.
I like this.
You guys remember first group?
Yeah, so far the trip has been pretty good.
Okay, next
The
group.
next
Yeah,
group
go
will
ahead.
David.
Okay, come here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Kaden, start
No,
from
no matter what, we gotta try to squish it together for this.
5, 6, 7,
Just
8,
was squished together like that. Yeah.
9, and then Xander. Hey, you guys, wait.
Oh, you're fine.
Right there.
We just need to get David ahead of you.
Okay.
So, oh, I'm sorry. You guys in group 2, you've got an adult with each.
Yeah, you would choose, so.
And then the next group will go with me.
Okay, so, next group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry guys, you're not all gonna be together, so you guys are gonna have to split up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys come here. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
And then the last bit of you guys can go together.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So,
Yeah, go with them, No, you guys are with them.
Then the last group will go with Jane.
Okay, perfect.
I only have
We're at a museum.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have 6.
These four were.
Oh, these 4 are coming? Okay, gotcha.
We're at a museum. Oh wow. Big.
So as far as the exhibits go, they actually do start right here. So the thing is, I want it to be as interactive as possible. Now, sometimes kids in high school don't say a word, so please, if you have questions or whatever, please, let's make it interactive. Ask me questions, etc. How much have you studied about what happened here during World War II? Not much, or anything? Okay, who knows what happened here? Any ideas? Nothing?
I think
Okay,
I
yes.
think I remember the Americans kind of took the Japanese and put them in like camps.
You got the basic part of it. Okay, now you have to think about this. Okay, so go back to 1941, which is even before I was born. But you've got the Empire of Japan. The Empire of Japan flies planes over to Hawaii, to Pearl Harbor, where our naval base is, and it literally destroys it. Okay, so that is the Empire of Japan that has done that. Now, there are 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry living on the West Coast. So we're talking about Washington, Oregon, California. They have the face of the enemy. Okay, they look like the enemy, so it is assumed that they are the enemy. Please, if you don't remember anything else about what we learned today, it was the Empire of Japan, not people of Japanese ancestry living in America. Now, 67% of the Japanese ancestry people that lived in America were citizens of the United States. Okay, they were born here. Never even been to Japan. Maybe speak limited Japanese because they're in America and they want to become Americanized. Their parents, which would be about 33% of them, they are not citizens. Because if you're from Asia, you can never become a citizen. That's just the law. You can't take the test, you can't pledge loyalty, We just don't want people of Asian ancestry to be part of America. That's a major discriminatory law. Because, remember, they came to America, the parents, because they wanted to come to America. So they have the desire. They'd like to be American citizens, but they can't. Now, think about, okay, I'm going to give you just a little hint here. Think about, and go back to your 7th grade or 4th grade Utah history. Think about the first major group of Asians that came to this country, immigrants that we requested to come to help build something that linked the United States together. The railroad. So what group of Japanese, or what group of Asians was that? Was it Japanese? Chinese, yeah. And as soon as they got the railroad built, that was dangerous work. They were paid nothing, basically. As soon as we got the railroad built, what happened was Americans said, okay, thank you so much. You've done all this hard work. You've linked the United States together from east to west. But we don't need you anymore. Go home. Because you have a different culture. You speak a different language. You look different. You eat different food. So that was kind of the beginning of the prejudice and the hatred toward Asians. Okay? Yeah. It didn't disappear. 1941, it was just as bad as it's always been for the Chinese. But add to this, now here's a math problem for you. Now you guys are Japanese students, but I think you can figure this out. Figure the math. 2% of the entire population on the West Coast is of Japanese ancestry. So, if you are 2%, what is the percentage that you should be producing as far as output, as far as goods, etc., farm labor, etc.? If you are 2%, what would the percentage be? It's not difficult. How much should you be producing overall?
98%.
Backwards, 2%. Okay. 2% for 2%. This is a problem. Japanese Americans are creating all of the, not all, but 38%. That's 19 times as much as you would think they should be producing. But it's from their truck farms, so their vegetables, their fruits, etc. So 2% for 38%? This does not make sense. So the people that are living there in California on the West Coast, they're going, something's wrong, we can't trust these people. So there was intense hatred and prejudice. Okay, so on April 1st, the people that came to Delta, they're from the Bay Area. April 1st, the government says, you've got to be gone. Now, they got to be gone from off the West Coast. 120,000 people, all forcibly removed. Fact, not one single one of them has ever been committed of a crime. No espionage, no sabotage, nothing. Their problem was they have to face the enemy. They looked like the enemy, so they were treated accordingly. So, starting in April, we're packing up families, telling them that if they own a home, doesn't matter, got to rent your home or whatever, or they might lose it for taxes or different things. But we're going to start moving you out of the Bay Area. Now, you are reduced to a number. See the tags? Now, all of this is one family, so every single member of the family has the very same number. Okay, it's not individual. Every family has a number. You can see they're tagged. Their luggage is tagged. Now, they do not have to wear those tags when they get to the camps. They have to have identification with them. But they don't have to wear the tags. But every time they go from one place to another, you got to be tagged. I grew up on a farm, and when we would doctor our cattle, we would put a tag in their ear. Okay, you brand them. So the people were reduced to a number. Okay, so come on in, let's try to stay as close as we can. You can see right here, this is not 20. This isn't wartime, folks. This is 20 years before war happens. Japs, keep moving. This is a white man's neighborhood. So that's that prejudice. 1906, San Francisco Board of Education says, you're Japanese, you can't go to public school. And they said, oh, don't worry, you can go to Chinese school. We've already excluded them. Anybody know the relationship between Japan and China? Not very good. So they're saying, no thanks, we will go, we'll create our own schools. So you've got that going on. You're electing people that say, finish the work that you've already started to complete this silent evasion. Okay, silent evasion is what this was called. They were afraid. So they would talk about it. They called it silent yellow peril. So something we can't figure out, that 38%. Yellow refers to what? Skin color. Derogatory term. Okay? And peril, you know, it's dangerous. Something's going on that's dangerous. Okay, so come on down. Got Pearl Harbor, that happens. So remember, we've been saying for years, we've got to get rid of these people, they're dangerous. And Pearl Harbor happens, it's the perfect storm. Okay, now we can at least get rid of the Japanese American. And you got to have a way to do it. So they put a gentleman in charge, he's a general in the Army, because the Army knows how to move large amounts of people from one place to another. Seriously, they do. And so he's put in charge. If you were to look up the name of John L. DeWitt on Wikipedia or whatever, you would find that he has nothing but the most vile, mean things to say about Asians. So he's in charge of it. Would you just read that to yourself for a minute? That's a quote taken from him. And then tell me in plain English, what is he saying? Let's go ahead and read that and try and explain to me in just plain English. What is he saying? The very fact no sabotage has taken place to date is a disturbing and confirming indication that such action will be taken. What's he saying? Has anything happened yet?
No, but it will.
By virtue of the fact that it hasn't, then we know it will. Okay? Let me use you for an example for just a second, okay? Let's pretend that we live in Delta. Okay, I'm a 4th grade teacher, and everybody in Delta knows everybody in Delta. I mean, I know your whole family, you know my whole family, you know my business, I know your business, etc. But you're a great kid in 4th grade. Now, let's see, what are you guys, juniors, seniors in high school? Okay, so let's say you're sophomore? Freshman, all right, okay, so now you're a freshman, but you're at Delta High School, okay? So I taught you in the 4th grade, great kid, and you come into the store where I'm working on the weekend, we have a little chit chat, you know, how are you doing? Are you still straight A student? I heard your grandma's in the hospital, we're just having this conversation, okay? Then all of a sudden, it just gets quiet, and I look at you and I think, she has never shoplifted. So I know she is going to shoplift. Does that make any sense? But that's what he's saying. They haven't done anything, so that's proof that they're going to do something. So the government gets on the bandwagon. You know, people have been wanting to get rid of the Asians for a long time. So they hire, anybody you recognize who this cartoonist is right here? Dr. Seuss. They hire Dr. Seuss to come up with propaganda. So, you know, he's got this cartoon, these funny looking Japanese people. They're all lined up all the way from Washington and Oregon, coming down here, and they're handing out TNT. What is TNT? Yeah, dynamite, etc. Then you've got this Japanese American spying. That is not true at all. But the government jumps on the bandwagon and they hire Dr. Seuss to come up with propaganda against their own people. That's just part of the craziness that is this story. 1,212 men were rounded up the evening in Pearl Harbor or the next morning, sent to jail, simply because they were leaders in the community. Maybe they were a Buddhist priest. Maybe they were a Japanese language teacher. Maybe they were a judo instructor. So they just come to your house and knock that night. You go to the door and they say, you need to come with me. Your wife and kids are freaking out. What did you do? What did you do? What's going on? But they have no choice. They go with the police because they're a leader in the community. Okay, so kind of if you crowd around here, here's a map of the United States, and you can see this red line. Now, anything west of that red line is an area that's called the exclusion zone. So in other words, you're going to be forcibly removed. Half of Washington, half of Oregon, the entire state of California, and a section of Arizona. So if you're Japanese American, you're out of here. You're going to be forcibly removed to one of these triangles. Heart Mountain, Wyoming, Minidoka, Idaho, Topaz, Utah. Okay? And some people lost everything. I know of a soldier returning from the war, Japanese American soldier. He gets a telegram from his parents and says, report to such and such address. You know, well, that's weird. Why aren't I going home? He does what he's told. And he finds his family living in the basement of a Buddhist temple with 3 other families. They're just crowded in there with other families. What are you doing here? And they say to him, well, we went home to the farm that they owned, okay? We went home to the farm and we discovered that our neighbors the night before all came over with torches, burned all of our outbuildings, our houses, took sledgehammers, broke everything in our greenhouses. So some people literally returned to nothing. Can I get a volunteer to come read the story about Willie Ito right here?
Go read it. Somebody read it.
You may have to call on someone if they won't
All right.
volunteer.
I'm gonna call on you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so listen carefully, because this is the story of Willie Ito. Yeah, go ahead.
7-year-old Willie Ito left behind his prized possession, a bank shaped like Dorothy from Snow White. It was still there when he returned home. A Chinese-American family kept his house safe, though later became an enemy of the Disney.
Okay, so Willie Ito, 7 years old. His family goes to camp. They left their home with a Chinese American family. Remember, China and Japan, not really good relationships. But Willie has been here. In fact, he told me this story. He said, you know, I got home and I made a beeline to my bedroom and I dumped my dopey piggy bank out on the bed. And I counted everything that was in it. And whatever it was, he must have known the amount. He said it was all there. So some people were nice and respected the people and took care of things. Then you got the story of like the soldier that came home to nothing. Okay, so come on around here. I'm trying to crowd around this display right here. Okay, so if put these dates together again, you got December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. April 1st, the people in the Bay Area have to be gone from their homes. June 15th, the land for building Topaz is purchased. What's wrong with that time frame? if they have to be gone by April and they haven't even bought the land to build Topaz?
It's not ready.
It's not ready. So they sent them to 16 temporary sites. That would be true of all 120 Japanese American, 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry. They were at fairgrounds and horse arenas. Imagine your family living in a horse stall. The government's gone in, they've whitewashed it so it looks clean. But in order to get into a horse stall, you have to cross this plank. It's over a ditch with what in it? If horses have been living there.
Smelly things.
Yeah, horse excrement, pee, manure, etc. So you can imagine the smell. Imagine the flies. I mean, really, reducing a people to having to live in a horse stall. Okay, so we're going to go out to the side today after this filter. So come on over here, you get an idea of the layout. There's an aerial photo, but we're going to be coming in along this road right here. The first area that we'll see is the military police area. So it's where the soldiers were. Look at this huge hospital. Main gate right here. Administrative buildings, etc. Now, this is where the administrators, this is where the congregations. Now picture this, they've got a little apartment with a kitchen, a bedroom, a bathroom, a front room, etc. So it's kind of an apartment. These are warehouses that store everything. So we're gonna drive along here, we're gonna actually come right here to where we have plaque and flag, etc. But now this is where the Japanese Americans live. And we'll go in and shoot in this and you'll get an idea of what the families would have lived in. Not just hearts, but bathrooms, bedrooms, etc. They're living in one room. Okay? They have no bathroom, no kitchen. So you have to go out and you have to eat in the mess hall. 250 people living in this life. They're all eating in the mess hall. The latrine is the bathroom where you do all your laundry, bathing, toileting, and washing. Okay? No stalls. But that's where you have to go. Use that. So we'll go ahead and come on in here.
You said in block one, right? That's where the.
Hawaii, yes. Hawaiians lived on block one. Now, think about this right here, because this is an important story. 120,000 people living in the West Coast, all forcibly living. There are 160,000 people living in block.
I'm sorry. I have to be really quiet.
The territorial governor, 40% of the population. If you take all of the Japanese Americans away from Hawaii,
I'm trying to talk to
you know, if you just have Pearl Harbor, we're gonna drive away. So what he said was, he said, I'll interview leaders instead of forcibly taking a jail interview. If they have pro Japanese sentiments, you can have them. So there were about 500 men that were leaders or that were outright go Japan. They, along with their families, constituted 2,000 people. Sent 1,500 people.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, so let me show you how a block works. There are 6 barracks on one side, 6 barracks on the other side of the common mess hall. So 250 people using those common facilities. Let's walk in here and check it out.
You want to see the film lights, man?
Shit's
This could be like an hour long.
My live needs to see everything. Sorry, guys, that I'm not talking.
This is where you would be living. A unit this size if you were Japanese American at Topaz. You moved away from the horse stalls finally. You get an apartment. Think about your own home and the size of this room. What room or rooms do you have in your house that would be about this same size? Living room, would be a master bedroom, etc. This might be a little bit bigger, but it certainly isn't your whole house. This is where a group of how many are gonna be living? Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Four, yeah, you're close. 4 people. Now, we have patterned this apartment after the Kami family, because they've given us so many things. The Butsudan, the shrine on the wall, they furnished that. They furnished the bed stand, the table and chairs. Some of the clothing is there, the shoes, etc. So we would call this the Kami apartment. Now, the Kami family was a family of 8. This is a room for 4. So what are you gonna do for the family? Split them up, floor. Well, it wasn't quite that big. If you look out here, in this little hallway we came through, there is a door. Doesn't go anywhere. But normally there would be a door that would go to a same room this size. So they got two rooms. Now the Kami family has told us kids that were in high school and junior high slept in a room like this, and their parents and the little brother and sister slept over there. But they're lucky because they have a common door to come into their house. You know, if it was another family and you only have 4, then you'd have to share that door. Plus you could pretty much hear through the wall what's going on the other side. Okay? Yeah, so you have to talk quietly. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so remember we talked about the living? So what is this?
Looks like a pot for cooking.
Pot for cooking. I would not want to cook in that pot. You have no idea what that is? It's a chamber pot to do your business if it's the middle of the night and there's a blizzard outside. You've got to walk half block to the latrine and there's 3 inches of snow. I'm going to take that chamber pot.
Not in my family, no. Go outside.
So you don't want that. So, and they said, we took turns taking the chamber pot to the latrine in the morning, clean it out, bring it back. Okay? So, this room has furniture in it. I have a friend, his name's Toru Saito, he's like 86 now. He said, Scott, we did not have furniture like this. He said, we couldn't afford it. He said, I lived out of a suitcase for 3.5 years, out of a suitcase under his bed. Now, the Kami family, they were able to, Mr. Kami, the dad, had some things in storage. The government provided storage units so you could put your, refrigerator, your couch, different things you had, clothing maybe they weren't going to use. But a lot of people after the war was over with, they returned to get their things out of the storage unit. There's nothing there, except for paper and photographs on there. Or everything had been slashed or, broken. So Frank Kami, who was a senior in high school, he said, my dad sent back to the warehouse. He got some things and they packed it in a crate. Okay? He said when we got it at the racetracks, he said I took the crate apart. Oops, this is the wrong chair. This is the right chair. He took the crate apart and he made the furniture. You can see the family's number down here. You can see the address, etc. So Frank took the crate apart and made the table chairs and the bed stand. Now they had heard some of these stories about people going back to California and had nothing. So when they got ready to get on the train, they took all this furniture with them. Now, about 30 years ago, Frank came to the museum and he had these chairs with him. He said, I want to give these to the museum. And the drawers in that bedstand. And he said, the table and the bedstand kind of fell apart, but I want to give these to the museum. And when we had our open house, like in 2007, so like 7 years ago, Frank came to the museum to our open house. 90 years old, and he brought the table and he brought the bedstand. He said, I remember how I made them, so I made them for you. And he said, I did not cheat. I used tools just like that. No power tools or anything like that. He used the old-fashioned tools. So we have a lot of people that are so generous to us and donate things to us. Now, everything in this room is original. It's the real thing, with the exception of probably the coal that's in the bucket, maybe the pans, dish towels, etc. Everything is. But the army cots, the mattresses, they're all original. I grew up with an army cot like that and a mattress like that. itchy wool blanket, army blanket. My parents had bought things from Topaz after it closed. Oh, and the radio. The radio we had to buy from eBay because nobody had the 1940s radio that they could donate to us. I remember the day the lady came to the museum and she brought this ironing board. The iron was already here. And she said to us, would you like this ironing board? Now we always have to ask the question, does it have a tie to Topaz? Because people bring us a lot of things that are Japanese or whatnot. And if it doesn't belong to Topaz, it doesn't have it. Because we have a storage room, clear full of furniture. So anyway, she brought this, so we asked her, can you tell us the story? And she said, yeah, my grandma made it in camp. Oh yeah, we want it. So she gave this room. She said, you know, I inherited this from my grandma. She said, I used to use it. But my grandma was just this short little woman. It'd just kill me. I'd have a backache. So she said, you are more than welcome. Now, because you guys are in high school, I want to share just a clip about what education was like at Topaz. Oops.
They didn't have this TV back then.
No, they did not have the TV.
That was created for us, various
It's like, yeah,
classes,
her story is told on one of those beds.
other things to keep us occupied.
I wasn't the best student in the class, I'm afraid. I didn't study as well as I should have. I had a teacher that took me aside one day and told me that, Frank, I have your transcripts from Berkeley High School and that you were an academic student and you're not putting out here at all. And I said, well, you know, our future, we have no future, so why should I
Locked us up.
study that hard?
What's gonna happen?
And so she said, Frank, the war's gonna be over soon, and that when it is, you're not gonna be happy digging ditches. You'll wanna go to college, and you'll never get into college the way you're not putting out for your studies. And she encouraged me to study hard, which I did. And she was very helpful to me, as she was to all the other students also.
Okay, so, you know, Frank, he gets there thinking, why do I need to study? This is my life. How long am I gonna be locked up in this city? He gets Miss Girard for his teacher, who later married Emil Sakarak, who was a worker at Topaz. And she gets this teacher, and she's not gonna put up with that kind of crap. She's not gonna feel sorry for him. She says, you are gonna work. Now, Frank, not only is he a master worker with wood, he became a very successful dentist in California, like a millionaire, basically. Because he says it was because of Eleanor Girard. She would not give up on us. So imagine, Eleanor Girard is a teacher in California. She maybe there's maybe 20 kids of Japanese ancestry in the whole school. But she hears what's happening to the Japanese Americans and she's going, that's not right. So she volunteered to come to Topaz to provide services as a teacher. First day of class. It was so weird because in California, maybe she had all these white faces and maybe one or two Japanese people in her class throughout the day. She said, she comes to class and there's this boy sitting down there on the third row. And he looks up and he goes, oh, no, not you again. She looked back at him and she said, I feel the same way. But that student was very appreciative of the fact that she made it work. But he was worried. He'd had her already in California. He didn't really want her in Topaz. He thought she was out of the story. So anyway, let's move on. Questions? You guys are doing, you just got so many questions. It's so interactive. Okay. Warming up.
What's that?
So kind of crowd around. Now imagine this, you've got the city of Topaz that we'll be going to today, it's Ghost Town now, and you've got the city of Delta. Of course, there's going to be interaction between the two cities. We know that there were several people from camp that came to Delta and worked for people, etc. Lived in town during the week, or all the time, basically. I have to tell you a couple of stories here. I like this story right here about Mr. Jeffrey. He and his family built Quality Market. Now that's the store just east of here. Probably saw it when you came through Delta. Used to be down there when I was a kid. But anyway, it was the grocery store. And Mr. Jeffrey hired the Hoshiyama brothers to come and work at his store. And they lived right in his house. They lived in the basement. Now, there was prejudice in Delta, not just outside, but there was prejudice in Delta. And so Dorothy, his daughter that's in elementary school, one day she comes home and she says, Dad, my friends told me today, with those Japanese living in our basement, I'm going to wake up dead one morning. Think about that for a minute. She's going to wake up dead? I don't think so. I don't think you can wake up dead. But he said to her, don't believe your friends. These people were our friends yesterday, and they are our friends today. Don't believe that. They're good people. Then this is the mortician. Okay, there's 157 people that died at Topaz. The mortician would take his hearse out to the site. He would get the body. He'd bring it back to Delta to prepare it for a service. And get this, one more layer of discrimination. He was required by the state of Utah to prepare the bodies of Japanese Americans in a different building from where he prepared all of us. Really? How come do they have to be discriminated that way? And then after the firm, he would take the body back to Topaz for a service, and after that, he would put it on the train, or he would take it in the hearse to Salt Lake or Ogden, where it was cremated. So all of the people from Topaz were cremated. You know what? That's a Japanese custom, so it's not like, ugh, you know. So, let's go ahead and go out here.
Don't put your friend's car laughing in the corner.
Somebody made it out of rocks. That's what it's made out of rocks.
Ah, it's bright outside. My eyes.
Why does it feel hot when I say
My eyes.
Stand here for a minute. Okay, when they were building Topaz, they built it out of pine boards. The building were built out of pine. Now the pine was fresh. It was green. When boards start to dry out, what happens to them? They turn brown, but they shrink and they warp. Okay? So if you look at the fence over there, you can see that's an example of what would have happened as these boards in the building started to dry out. Leave all those cracks. So that's what these buildings are built of. So they put tar paper on the outside and they put sheetrock on the inside. Now there is no insulation in those buildings. None whatsoever. Now, you haven't really heard this story yet, but you can see all of those all of those boards that go vertically or horizontally. They were put on the buildings to keep the tar paper down, because the wind around here is ferocious. It'd just pick up a corner of that and rip that whole thing off. So that's what those are on there for. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go inside this building. So get a good idea, you know, of the temperature out here on a nice fall day.
Nice and cold.
What do you think the temperature inside is going to be? Is it colder or hotter?
Winter, you
Colder.
are hilarious. What?
He was asking what we think the temperature would be inside.
Oh,
Rather
colder.
hot or colder.
Definitely colder.
Because they said no, there's
Ew,
no
look how
insulation.
old these are. Oh, dang.
Oh yeah, it is colder.
Oh, it's cold in here.
What about it? It's because there's no insulation.
I'm cold.
So if there's no insulation in your home, in the winter it's going to be colder inside. It's going to be hotter than outside. So the temperatures, they range from like 10 degrees below zero to 112 in the sun.
Do you want my hoodie?
No.
So it was either like a freezer
It's not
or an
that cold for
oven
me.
in these
My
buildings.
legs are.
Now this is a real building that was at Topaz. It was donated to us about in the 1980s. It was on a farm,
Where'd they
and
go?
it was just like falling apart. Because the farmer used it to store things in, etc. So the walls were broken and different things. So we had to replace a lot of it. But we had to replace it so that it was historically accurate. So all the sheetrock is from the same company that they got their sheetrock from. People that live in the Delta area, they'll come in here and they'll go, they didn't have sheetrock back then. True fact. But the sheetrock came from California. So we built things out of lath and plaster back there. But you can see that one section clear back there that we were able to save. And that proves that this building was made out of sheetrock. You know, we are in one half of this building right here. Yeah, sure. You'll notice every block, you kind of got the idea of how it's laid out. Every block has 13 buildings on it, well, 15 with the mess hall and the tree. But these are barracks where people live, these are barracks where people live. A building like this is called a recreation hall. Nobody would live in a building like that. Instead, it has some kind of city function. There isn't like a city center where you go to the store, go to church, the library, etc. Instead, every block has a building that has some kind of city function. We are in the building that was on block 42. And it was the Boy Scout Lodge. Okay? So if you walk over here, you can see what all of the different buildings were. You have community education, you have the open Buddhist Sunday school, you have the dry goods store. We're in this one right here. But it's only half the length. It would have continued twice as long in that direction. Okay? So look around here, tell me what you can see that is not original to Topaz. Something that's not really an artifact. What thing?
The fire extinguisher.
You're right. This plaque right here, I mean this display case, this is not from Topaz. But literally everything else in this room is from Topaz. Was built with leftover lumber. It's a shipping crate, like remember I said Frank Tommy's dad shipped things and then he took the crate apart. The stoves are original, the fire extinguishers, the roof vents, etc. These buildings ended up all over the state of Utah. University of Utah, after the camp was closed, they cut the buildings in half and moved them all over the state of Utah. University of Utah had some for student housing. BYU had some for classrooms. So this particular panel, have a look at this side right here. I'm not sure what that is. So this is Naughty Pond. This was in the basement of a family that lived in Salt Lake. When they did some remodeling and they took it off the wall, come see what's on the other side. They went, oh my gosh. This must have been a building at Topaz because it says Project Director Central Utah Relocation Project was the real name for the camp, Delta, Utah. So they called up Jane and they said, we've discovered something in our home. Would you like it? And of course, she and her sister drove up there and got a whole load. So this stuff is all over the state of Utah.
So this was on somebody's wall.
Well, that's on somebody's wall in the Salt Lake home.
So just for the kids that maybe don't know, about how far was the camp like from where we actually are? Because this is like Delta Main
This is
Street, or
Delta.
like Delta, but like the actual.
The camp that we'll go out today is 16 miles out in the desert. If you think there was nothing on your way here, wait until we go out there. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. And that was what the government wanted all these camps to be built with. They were there. Okay, so what is this right here? Any idea? Of this
That's a tennis racket.
tennis racket? What else might it be?
An antenna.
An antenna, who said that? Awesome. Okay, so tell me, what does an antenna do? You know it. It catches the radio waves, etc. So it's like a satellite dish, basically. So if you come over, you can see it hanging out of this window right here. So it's so that they can get radio reception. You'll notice 3 stoves in this room. So let's pretend we're Japanese American and we want to come to the Boy Scouts. Okay? Or let's say we're on block 7 and want to go to the art school. There's going to be 3 stoves. Stoves always didn't look alike, but all 3 of these stoves are from Topaz. So this is a building that's 100 feet long. It's only 50, but it would have been 100. So you're going to have a stove down there in the middle. You're going to have a stove probably about right here between that stove and this wall. And you're going to have one clean on there in the imaginary part. Okay? So these are stories that are told to the art school.
The wall from the
I'm
house.
sitting next to
Yeah.
this stove. It's like, it's wet. It is
And
hot.
made better just so it doesn't collapse on people.
But if I am halfway between 2
I hate
stoves,
spiders too.
we're doing watercoloring, the water in my receptacle will start freezing. I tell you the extreme temperatures that they have to deal with. Now, if you remember that unit that we were in just a minute ago, the Tommy apartment, the stove was over in that corner. He said, you know, it was hot next to that stove, but if you were in the opposite corner, it was cold. You know? So just absolutely crazy stuff. I want you to come look at this right here, this panel.
There's handprints. There's very small handprints.
I see one right here too.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. I think.
Okay, so come look at the plaques on this panel. What's happened to them?
The floor is
But the
so
holes,
loud.
what are the holes made from? Headshots. Yeah. Okay, so this is the original, we're gonna go to where there is a monument, and these are part of the original monument. You can see how they've been vandalized, how they've been destroyed. Now Topaz is like 16 miles north and west of Delta. We own it, we own the site, the museum does, but there's no way.
Get a view where you're looking.
So, artifacts, different things that are out there, they just keep swapping. This was the original plaque. Okay, we'll go back in. If I get the last person to shut the door.
You guys are.
Cold.
So we'll just kind of stand here for a minute. You can see that cement structure over there. Okay, that was on the side of the Buddhist temple, and I'll show you a picture of it in the museum. Now we get a lot.
Yeah,
of
I
things
said
that
the
are
floor is
donated to
loud.
us. That was donated to us by a family that stole it after the war and moved it to their garden. But we're glad they did, because if they hadn't and it had remained out there, would have either been vandalized or it would have fallen apart because of the weather. Okay, freeze, thaw, etc. We try to restore things that we are given. You can see our cement restorationist has already worked on the legs. But the next part, she'll fix that too. I have no idea how, but she'll fix it. So anyway, come on in.
Yeah, I said the floor is loud. The floor is so loud, that's what I said.
An hour video that was creating
Huh?
at first. This might be a video that takes an hour. If I can figure out how to get 2 videos connected into one.
You gotta use CapCut. Oh, it smells dusty.
Actually, 11:30.
Yeah, I don't have CapCut. So
Yeah, I forgot to tell you I have more time than other times. Okay, so just kind of come crowd around here. These are artifacts right here. This is our artifact. So everything you see is from Topaz. Now the 3rd grade at Mountain View Elementary School, they created a journal. Okay, and this is a replica of the journal. So one day, Eddie Narahar comes to the museum, sitting on this bench. He's a reader. He just having the time of his life because he's remembering all these stories. So he gets to this page and he's oh, I remember that baby shark. I mean, he has told the teacher when Edwin went to the pig farm, he went swimming in the ditch and saw a baby shark. Really? A baby shark in the middle of the desert? He says, well, it probably swam up from Severe Lake. Severe Lake was about 50 miles west of Hideaway in Nevada. He said, look, it was this big. So, you know, as a 3rd grader, you've got this in your mind. It was probably a baby shark. But these are just the life stories that we have, luckily. This one right here, I always love to read because it tells you about a typical day. April 20th, 1943. There was a parade of war machines in Delta. So we know that Japanese Americans must have actually come to Delta and seen tanks and trucks and different things right on Main Street. Saturday, Edwin, okay, the guy that saw the shark, was given a little dog named Tippy. So they had animals in camp. But if you had an animal before in California, you had to get out of it. You could not bring your pets. But they got pets when they were here. Today is Hitler's birthday. Oh, you're right. You know what? That's a current event. So they're talking about the war. They're talking about Hitler. I had a girl sitting here one day at this bench.
My live's gonna get demonetized.
Yesterday was Mr. Walker.
YouTube, don't demonetize
Talk about
me.
that in a minute. Kiku brought us 4 lizards today, and there was a flower show on block 36. So that's what's happening during a regular day. It's regular life. You know, the parents, they worked really hard to make this experience good for their kids, so they wouldn't walk away with all these emotional scars. They have high school. You see Letterman's sweaters. They have football teams, basketball teams, etc. They would bring their teams to Delta to play Delta High School or
Play this game for some reason.
to play Millard High School. Here you can see they are in Delta High School.
That looks cute.
I should probably go back to their group.
Yeah, we should.
They made wedding dresses. You can look at it, you can see it's got tiny, Of course, they have. Let's go. Total of 541. Between the date of April 1st and April 1st, they said
It's just so happy
I don't think so. One of my live members said that they couldn't hear him.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we assume that's for education.
And then 2 or 3 other camps, but there's a whole bunch of them. We weren't too late, but they were late.
These were the chairs they used in school?
May?
Notice right here.
These chairs in school.
Damn. Was born, and they volunteered from
I can't read what those say.
from Korea. Now, these people were free. Why would they volunteer to come to children? They don't have to do your job. They don't know that. But they volunteered to come to Cambridge.
This feels weird.
They have to be a teacher. They have family, you know.
April 14th, April 20.
There was a farmer, Caucasian farmer, and he had a group of Japanese Americans with him. And they were so persecuted and
Oh, cover that.
that they would be safer.
I was gonna say no.
Than they were in there. So some people, you know, volunteered to come to camp. Come down here, you can see right
He did?
here in this garden
Crazy.
around the base temple.
No,
You see that
that's not
structure that
good.
they have outside?
That's not good. I'm gonna get demonetized.
This park, etc. Now, there were 3 other parks that we don't know where are. Well, we do. We know where this one is. It's on the ground out there, but it's in a million different pieces because of weather. You know, it freezes, it thaws, so it's all cracked. That's why we're grateful. And the country brought this to their body. Talk about but this is a really important story.
I'm gonna get demonetized. That's a pretty dress.
You're in this incarceration camp.
Oh, look.
For right.
Squirrels? It's a crib.
New to the Gava service. New worship and song. Membership card.
It burns.
And they ask you to serve in the military.
She's on leave clearance.
It's a kid.
Because you are an American citizen, and you want your.
Or race.
A lot of young men say yes. Were you nodding your head no?
Oh, I was not nodding.
Okay. Would some of you refuse? Yeah, well, yeah, you might
See,
do that. You don't
if
mind.
anybody does truly want to read this, they seriously can just pause the video and read it.
What is
Keep
that?
flipping
Helen Fumi Takahashi. Central. Okay. Uh-huh.
Central Utah. There's a lot of
You're
things
welcome.
I have the idea in there.
That remain to this day the most highly.
Takahashi.
The motto is spoken for ever it took to prove that they were good people. They weren't the enemy. They had 6 times.
That almost says my name. Akaki.
So for every
Just put an R right here and it says
Sponsor of this
Akari.
exhibit on relocation.
It's a doggy. It's a doggy.
Maybe that's Tippy.
It's a doggy. That's Tippy? Oh, that could
I
be.
said maybe it's Tippy.
Yeah, I know. That's what.
Oh, shit, we gotta get better.
Look at that. Look at that. Those are pretty. These are pretty. Look at that.
Oh man,
Look at that.
I already lost all. It just ended on itself.
Oh,
I think I might just submit the 2 videos. and
look
just
how
have to-
pretty these are. They're so cute.
I wonder if I can make a second video and just have it be the 2 videos.
Oh. Girl, no, it is not. My voice is not cute. My voice sounds like a man. Whoa. Location. I would read all
This
this.
artist is Mine Okubo. She
Island.
did the paintings that are on that wall and then the charcoals on this wall.
I'm not reading all that.
Everywhere she looked, she said everywhere she looked, all she could see were poles and barbed wire.
No, my voice sounds like a guy. On Xbox, people call me a guy.
Yeah, I think all these videos I'm just gonna turn into parts. So yeah, that's what it is.
Where else?
No, I'm not lying. I'm joking.
Yeah, one cosmic fire and everyone stress. Why does this person look like a zombie?
Why does he look like he's doing something wrong? Kari loves history. No, I hate history.
You're only here because it's Japanese.
Yeah, I'm only here because it's
We
Japanese.
have some original
I
talent.
like Japanese history.
This is an artist, a contemporary artist, and she created
These are pretty. What does that say? Well, something. I can't read that.
and the numbers are
And I
all
think everything that this person's been saying and everything we're finding is definitely giving away where we are.
My voice is not cute. Stop calling my. Yeah, it depends what kind of museum. Stop calling my
did
voice
one of these
cute.
for each of the 10 camps. I'm going to
It's
There's a
pretty.
gallery
It's
in
pretty.
Los Angeles where all of those.
Why do I feel like that's Nezuko's?
That's Nezuko. That would be.
Like it has like everything from Nezuko.
So if you kind of come and stand, I don't even know what you are.
Helen.
But it sounds really cool. So this is probably, oh, come on.
David's right though.
Okay, so this is Japanese, traditional Japanese music, and it was played on a koto like that. Now, we recently have this donated to the museum by this lady right here who was at
That's a lot.
and she learned to play the koto.
Oh,
That's all
That's like a Christmas
And then
tree.
the actual play that you hear, that was done by Shirley Muramoto, and she wasn't in camp, she's a descendant, so they were more camp. And she's come to tell us that you should watch her. That's absolutely amazing. So this gentleman right here, Shiro
Sorry, I'm
This is
really
a thick book.
This book feels so weird.
So thick.
It's a really thick book.
Toyo Yamamoto.
Damn, what is that?
I thought to see the Baron Earth, right, Toyo Suyo, Yamamoto, in a poem for Trek. Oh,
Oh, they're going. Oh, they're going. They're
glad
going.
they're going.
They're going. They're going. They're leaving us.
I thought you were stopping.
She's cute.
So if I were to have come to your school and done a presentation, everybody over here. This is the very first slide I showed. And I just.
Oh, she dropped her head on her phone. She dropped her. Well, she dropped her phone. She dropped her phone on her head.
I wonder if anybody recognizes any of these people.
You almost got
nowadays, or
lost. Yeah, I almost got lost. Chat, don't clip that, please.
Different people, but how are they different? Different cultures, different races, religions, dress differently, young, old, etc. So what is the message Norman Rockwell is trying to tell us in his painting? What's he trying to tell us with all these different? Are we all much more alike than we are different? Or to treat each other with respect? Well, this is also on his painting, the Golden Road. He went to others. Who would remember that simple rule? With things like praying and would never have something like this happen to Japanese. But because we can't remember that, we do have contention or wars, etc. So let's just talk for a minute about these four people right here. Okay, so we get everybody kind of crowd around. Okay, so was the incarceration of these 120,000 people, was it legal? What do you think? Was it legal to do this?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Absolutely. You see the Bill of Rights over there, it violated all 10 of the human rights that are in the Constitution.
I like her hair.
Every single one of them.
Okay,
Also
bye.
think about this, there were 120,000 people of Japanese American ancestry, and they all did exactly what they were told to do. Get that culture,
I pray thee between me and thee, for we be brethren, breathe, whatever,
Brethren.
brother, whatever.
They were told, with the exception of these three men. And Roy Yasui was a lawyer.
Yeah, I forgot to do it.
He's cute. Don't do that. Camera. Yeah.
He's out after
Texas in the 1920s.
police come by and they say, you're violating my constitution. They
Okay.
say to him, well, then we don't have any choice but to take you to jail. This is what he did.
He's cute.
He gave his hands out so that he could be handcuffed. He was going to prove that this was wrong. This gentleman, he was conscientious.
We're back at the beginning. Everyone is cute, yeah.
Violation of our business rights.
This panel
Girl, you're gonna be tired in the morning.
Want to go again? I'll leave her behind. So he went to the extent of having plastic surgery. So he looked like more Spanish than he did.
Beginning December 7th, 1941, the FBI stormed the houses of some ISC. They confiscated whatever they deemed to be suspicious. Out of fear, families began destroying anything that connected them to their Japanese culture. Books, diaries, letters, flags, even family photographs and heirlooms, auditorium, finances. Little later conceded that these warrantless searches were illegal in homes where U.S. citizens also resided and that they produced little of value.
Wow. She says, hey, gosh, we've been learning about Japanese American.
Unusual punishments. The Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishments. Do you think about what happened to people of Japanese descendants was fair?
Korematsu. Are we related?
Blah 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 blah
Should we
blah.
say blah 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 about this?
That's what they said. That's what they said. So she said blah blah blah. We are here to read, girl. I'm reading for you, and I hate reading. Stop recording me.
Hey, we're recording each other.
Thousands
This
and
is fun.
possessions.
It was so embarrassing.
And they were
So they have this conversation, and she just says,
held against their will in poorly built barricades. Some people had been forced to live in horse stalls rife with the stench of manure and urine. Armed guards stood on the perimeter with guns pointing inward. Japanese Americans were stigmatized as disloyal, not allowed to prove their innocence. In purely legal terms, detention and I don't know what the hell that said. David, what does that say? Deprivation?
Deprivation.
Okay, may not qualify as cruel and unusual, but many who experienced it would disagree. Okay.
and so she's done everything right, but she's
That should be the end.
First Amendment guaranteed peaceful assembly, move your phone, free speech, and religion freedom. Yet the government prohibited Japanese Americans from practicing state Shinto in the camps. Use of Japanese language was suppressed in the temporary detention centers. Administrators
monitored and censored camp newspapers.
Yeah.
We need help with that last one.
And then this one says life, liberty, and property. The
Fifth
Fifth
Amendment states that no person can be denied these basic rights without due process of law. This means that the government must follow the legal statutes of the country and provide fair treatment of its people.
Okay. Move your phone. Move your phone, smiley face with a knife. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. We had constitutions. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. That was great. I don't know what the heck I just read. Oh, where are we going? Ooh, secret passageway. Ooh, scary. Oh no.
Oh no.
My legs need a break. Oh wait, no, let's try to get more.
Okay, so we'll show a short movie in just a second, but I want you to take a look at all this beautiful artwork. So 16,000 years ago, we would be 500 feet.
He reads faster than you.
in this room.
Lake Bonneville, right?
Because of Old Lake Bonneville, yeah. So the Japanese Americans located a place, and I'll show you when we drive out there, a place that's about 5 miles west of the West Fence. And they would walk there. They'd crawl through the fence and walk there. They would collect shells. Look over at that bottom screen right over there, you can see bottles with shells in them. So they'd collect the shells, they'd bring them back to camp, wash them, and they'd sort them into different sizes, lay them out to dry, then paint them with dyes they made, etc. So before you leave this room, make sure you really check it out, because it's absolutely amazing. Okay, so this is a film about Topaz. And all of the voices, Japanese American voices you're gonna hear are survivors, people that lived here. And all the artwork is from Topaz. Shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Freedom was a very important thing.
See the artwork? I think that picture was in the gallery, actually.
I don't know how much we've learned from it. I don't know how much we learned from a lot of our past mistakes.
when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone.
So here are the instructions.
Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them,
See the military
citizens
police
and
everywhere,
aliens alike, would have to move.
watching everything they do, armed with guns.
There's nothing we know other than our life here. I don't know where else I would go. Nobody knew where we were going.
They had no clue. Now these people are from the Bay Area, San Francisco?
The desert of
Does that look like San
central
Francisco?
Utah,
You can only imagine the shock.
an empty stretch of sky and dust. Almost beautiful in its starkness. But hidden in the brush of this lonely landscape are the ruins of an ugly past. The remains
We'll drive
of a
right by those
city
things when we
called
drive.
Topaz.
The time, spring and summer of 1942. The place, 10 different relocation centers.
On September 11th, 1942, after a long cross-country journey, busloads of men, women, and children arrive at the gates of Topaz. Gates today marked by a sign in the desert.
So all the buildings, everything was removed by 1947.
My mother had told me that this is our world now.
Uprooted to a world of barbed wire and guard towers, the new residents of Topaz struggle to cope.
We're living in a barrack behind the barbed wire in the desert of Utah.
What do we need to be locked in like this in this wide open water?
7 guard towers, soldiers with guns,
Were we the
bayonets.
enemy?
That's the fence.
At Topaz today, debris and concrete foundations serve as a reminder of the memories that haunt this abandoned landmark.
First thing we faced in Topaz was dust.
We were walking in ankle-deep dust.
Now that isn't snow, that's alkali salt from Old Lake Pond.
We woke up
Like salt flats.
and we were covered with sand because there had been a dust storm.
And all this dust, we see army towers and rows of black tar-papered city.
They all look like kids. They didn't look like homes.
In the mud. That's an aerial photo because the ground hasn't been disturbed. We know where everything is.
Internees try to make the best of life at camp, smiling for the camera despite it all.
There were 6 in our family, and we were all in one big room.
So it would have been a little bit bigger than the room that we have.
I remember singing songs.
We did what little kids do, learn to read, and we drew pictures, and we had recess time.
There were 2 elementary schools, just in barracks. They didn't build schools like we have.
Every block had their baseball teams.
The Topaz Welcome Guide helped orient residents to camp life, but its rules and regulations shatter any illusion of normalcy. The do's and don'ts of Topaz. Do keep your city clean and participate in civic events. Do participate in all outdoor sports. Do carry your identification cards at all times. Don't move without notifying your block manager. Don't crawl through the fence.
He was walking by the fence and was hard of hearing. The guard shot him and he died. It is better to light a candle
that decreased the darkness.
Though the wilderness grows back around it, this 1 square mile in the desert will always wear the scars of Topaz, just as Japanese Americans will always carry the scars of the internment.
My mother had a very hard time in Topaz, to the point where she couldn't carry on. She never did recover from that.
She had a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized for most of the rest of her life.
Nothing can pay for the humiliation.
With liberty and justice for all, except us.
So what was something that some takeaway you got from that movie? Something that you learned, or a question they have, yeah?
They had like a lot of
They had a lot of what?
rolls.
Yeah. What else?
Gotta relax my feet, Dad.
We have the same idea. Did you catch the date that they first arrived? 9/11.
I caught that.
That was actually Utah's second 9/11. The first one was Mountain Meadow Massacre. Never heard of that, make sure you look it up. And of course, 9/11 is the day that we all think of in history. The gentleman that was walking by the fence, Mr. Wakasa, he lived right here. Yeah, remember that aerial photo? If you had family that was here, I could take you to the exact place where he lived. Lived right here, and he's walking his dog over against this fence. The guard in this tower yells at you to move away from the fence. Guards are instructed to do 3 things. Yell at the person to move away from the fence. Well, that is a quarter of a mile away. That's 2.5 city blocks. Plus, it said he was maybe hard of hearing. We don't know that. But still, yelling, a quarter of a mile. But really, out in the desert, I can yell a mile and you can hear me. Let's say he did hear it. Second thing you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take your rifle and you're supposed to fire a warning shot. So you've got this boom out in the desert. Chances are you're going to hear that because it's kind of a different sound. Third thing, you're supposed to take your rifle and you're supposed to pepper the ground around where people are standing. So here's Mr. Wakasa. I take my gun and I boom, 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 all the way around where he's standing. Probably hear that. But what are you going to see as those bullets go in the ground? Dust, dirt flying up. The guard shot 1 shot. He says the warning shot. Mr. Wakasa fell to the ground. The guard in this tower saw what happened. He phoned military police. They got in their Jeep and drove over here, and they crawled through the fence. They found Mr. Wakasa's body 5 feet inside the fence. He was not trying to escape when he was shot. Besides, that's April 11th, 1943, and people were walking over here all the time after they'd been here for a couple of months, crawling through that fence and walking to find shells. Okay, guys need to go to the restroom. If you need to, we're going to board on the bus. So anyway, thank you very much. Make sure you check out the shell. Yes. Yeah, you take it. Sure.
Freedom. I have a headache. What's wrong with your legs?
Yeah, when we were on the bus, I'll start posting.
Kari Lara, angry. The teacher, boom. Boom, 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 boom with the most. That took 69 years, literally. Literally.
You gotta go.
What the? That's cute. That's cute. That is adorable.
Bunny.
Bunny. That's a creepy ass bunny.
Bunny.
Pretty. Pretty.
Bird.
Pretty.
Birds.
Birds? What the heck are these?
They're their Disney versions of what they can make. Not everything would work right.
I know, but still, it's kind of creepy.
Restrooms, if you need restrooms, make sure you.
Why did bro zoom in on your face like that? I didn't mean to! paper planes. Move out of the way while I'm falling. Ow. Owie, my leggies. Oh, God.
Start posting the videos.
Okay.
Right off the bat, just one trip, I already have 3 videos I can post.
Damn.
I don't get it well at all. So first, start off with this one. The first one is 25 minutes.
Hi. Your eyes catch in the camera, we see you seeing. What? Your eyes catch in camera, we saw you seeing that guy. What? Sleep well. Okay. Now we have to wait another 2 hours.
Why?
Because we're going to go back on the bus then.
No, it's not made for kids.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Jane.
Hey guys, gather in. Come in. Okay, guys. Really quick, everybody say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really an awesome thing that they put on for us. So, kind of a sacred space. I don't want a round of applause, but just say thumbs up and thank you as we leave. So we're going to do the site tour, which takes us out to the actual site of the camp. Obviously, this is town, right, Delta, and the camp was a few miles out that way. So that's where we're going to go. On the bus ride over, okay, you guys are welcome to take out your lunches and eat them, but please listen, okay? Don't be chatting the whole time. I know you guys want to chat. We can do that later, but we're gonna have Scott come with us and actually give us the tour as we go along. So please try to listen. Be quiet because it gets noisy if you guys start talking. But you're welcome to eat your lunch. But please keep all of your trash together because as we leave, you need to discard everything. Either take it with you or discard it. So no trash is gonna be left on the bus. Okay, for every piece of trash I find, AJ is gonna do 10 push-ups. All right?
What?
Everybody just drop all your trash on the floor and leave it.
I think I heard you were gonna give them a quiz tomorrow on the tour, and then they have a 70-page essay to write.
Yeah, all of that is true. Okay, so hopefully you guys are paying attention, and hopefully you will pay attention on the site tour. Okay. So one more time, everybody, say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're gonna head back.
Good thing Teacher just said phone is trash. That's
I'd rather lose my grade than be 70 pages. Seriously, I'd rather lose my grade over a 70-page essay.
I am not writing a 70-page essay.
Me neither. I don't even have time.
I
for
will
one
use
page
ChatGPT.
I don't even have enough time. I only have enough time for 1 page.
I haven't even done the speaking assessment yet. I can't see.
Hey, also, I'm going to need help with the phone number.
What?
I still haven't verified my account yet.
Oh.
And I need to. I'm gonna
Are you kidding me, bro?
What?
How do you expect to start a channel? Woo, 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 woo. Owie.
You go first.
Okay.
Just say next to your Destiny.
Hold on, people. Where's our backpack? Where's our backpack?
Right here.
Right here.
Dad, be careful not to step on anything. No, my lunch!
You got lucky there.
Yeah, I can't find my phone number on this phone. I don't remember it.
How do you not remember it? How do you not remember your own phone number?
Because.
Go to your settings. I need to charge my phone.
Then where? Would it be like device info?
I think it's, hold on, let me plug in my phone real quick. There we go. Let me see. Oh, you got it. There you go. That's your phone number. Don't worry, guys, you're being rescued. It's okay, you guys been rescued. Your face. Kari your face. Kari with mask. Kari with voice. I'm hungry. I'll just eat whatever the fuck they gave us. There we go.
Hey, start counting off from the back. Go. 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
20, 22,
23,
24,
24,
25, 27.
That's what I see.
Hey guys, last time I'm gonna say it, right? I really don't want to see trash when you guys leave. Also, it's okay, start opening up your lunches. That's fine.
Should be out loud. You want my carrot? I don't want my carrot.
Okay. Hey, thanks. We appreciate you coming to the museum today. So if you will take a look at the architecture of that building that you were in today, that recreation hall, notice the pitch of the roof. Notice that there are no eaves. In other words, the edge of the building is just right flush with the roof. So that is a typical structure of an army building if you were to join the army and go to Fort Seal or whatever. But it's also typical structure of a Topaz building. So as we drive around town, I'm going to show you lots of buildings that were at Topaz. Now after the war was over with, the government sold all of the buildings.
No.
Several of the buildings were given to universities. BYU had some for classrooms. University of Utah had some for student housing. The college at Southern Utah University in Cedar City, they got the gymnasium. So these buildings are all over the state. Most of them are gone from the universities, but I will show you a lot of them that are in town. Now, if you bought half of a barrack, the building with no plumbing, no electricity, no insulation, etc., it cost you $250. Seems like a good deal, and it kind of was, but that's $1940. If you bought half of a hospital, you got to pay $450. And that was because it was move-in ready. It already had electricity, insulation, plumbing, etc. You could literally move in it as soon as, it was cut in half. You had to patch up the site that was open. Now, this park right here that you see to your right is where the location of all the schools in Delta were during the war. So the high school was on the east end, the elementary school on the west end, about where this city office building is.
I hate being out in
Now, the communities of Delta and Topaz had talent exchange programs. So kids your age from Delta would go to Topaz, present programs. If you were a Topazan, you would bring programs to Delta. Now, they were performed in a building that we call the Palomar. Now, the Palomar was built during the Depression. They needed to get men out working because nobody had a job. So it was built during It was built during the Depression. It's like a high school gymnasium. It has bleachers on both sides and it's a basketball court. But it's going to be this building on your right at the end of this block. So it's this building right over here. So there was a young man in high school. His name was Goro Suzuki. Goro Suzuki had a beautiful baritone voice. People loved to hear him sing. Quite often he would sing some kind of a patriotic number at the end of the program. And stories are told that the people in the Delta audience would even get a little teary-eyed because they knew that Goro was going to have to get on the bus and go back to Topaz, where he had limited freedom. Now, Goro wanted to be on Broadway. Nobody would hire a person of Japanese ancestry after the war, so he changed his name to Jack Sue. That sounds more Chinese. He was the first person of color on Broadway in Flower Drum Song. And he was the first person, one of the first people of race that was on a TV sitcom. We're all too young. Maybe you'll remember. Barney Miller. He was the sleepy detective, Sergeant Jimena on Barney Miller. So famous people were at Topaz. So now look off to your left, to the south, and you're going to see two homes. So this first one right here, notice the placement of the windows. And then this next home, again, notice the placement of the windows. That is one wing of the Topaz Hospital. Moved to Delta, cut in half, remodeled, and they're lived in. This brown house, look out over the back door. You see that funky looking light fixture? Yeah. That's a light fixture from Topaz. It also is part of the hospital. So here's the front of the home, part of the hospital, and then this next house, take off the garage, so it's to your left. Look at the placement of the doors and the windows. In the exact location they would have been for half of a barrack. So that's half of a barrack. And then one last building on your right. This greenhouse, look right straight through the center. And you can see that's the Topaz structure. No eaves, no overhang of the roof on the end. The roof and the building wall are just flush.
I'm still hungry. Kevin chips. What? Do you want pretzels?
What?
Do you want pretzels?
Do I want pretzels? Sure.
Okay, so you saw the railroad tracks.
Where? What?
So the Japanese Americans were put on the trains at Tanforan, the racetrack. Took them 3 days, 2 nights to get to Topaz. They were let off the train one time in the middle of the Nevada desert to get some fresh air, exercise. Now, when they got off the train, they were fenced in. I mean, the middle of the Nevada desert, nothing. But they had this fence around them, and they had armed guards stationed about every 10 feet or so. Everywhere they went, they had the military watching what they were doing. As if they were going to do anything in the middle of the desert of Nevada.
What the fuck are you watching?
So they got on the trains. They were told immediately to pull their shades down. They could not see where they were going. They had no idea. Now, when they would pull into little towns and the train would have to refuel, they weren't allowed off, but the train would stop, and often there would be people on the platform with bricks, and rocks, throwing them at the windows. So that is also, not only did they not want them to know where they were going exactly, it was also for their protection. So the people didn't know that that train had Japanese Americans on it. Now, it's fall. First group arrived on 9/11, 1942. And so they're looking out these windows on their bus. We're going to take the same route that they would have taken. And they're seeing farmers harvesting their crops, etc., their wheat, their barley, their alfalfa, their corn. And they're just shocked and amazed that somebody can even live in a place like this. Because they're used to California. I mean, where are the buildings? Where are the people? Where's the green? Where's the ocean? You know, this is something they have never seen before. But they're seeing farmers working out in their fields, etc. So they know that, yeah, people can live here. Now, off to your left, just beyond this two-story home, there's a little white building. Notice the windows. Right past this house. Voila, that garage. Now, one of the windows has 6 panes and one of them has 2 panes. That is a building from Topaz. Not all the windows were always the same. It was wartime. You did with what you could. Not all the doors were the same, but the structure, the architecture, was always the same. You're going to be coming across a dairy in just a minute, so you should roll down your windows and get a good sniff. People go, ugh, that smells terrible. But to me, it smells like money. They're making money off this dairy right here. So there were a lot of huge dairies that came into the area in about 1983.
Chat, I'm bored.
Before then, everybody had their own milk cow, etc. But there are about 10 of these huge dairies in the area. And we're grateful that they came into the area because it brought diversity. Okay? Up until that time, Delta was 100% Caucasian and about 95% Mormon. So when those dairies came into the area, we got some diversity. Right now, the population is about 20% Hispanic. So it's great to have some different color and different religions also. Yeah, there you got sheep grazing on the hay. We're going to be going across the Sevier River. The Sevier River is the longest continuous river in the state of Utah. That starts and ends in Utah. Begins down by Bryce Canyon, weaves up to Nephi. Before the pioneers got here, it went about 50 miles west to Sevier Lake.
They say there you got sheep.
Now, you'll see the puny little river down the bottom, but in 1983, this entire river gorge was filled with water. Hard to believe, clear up to the top, it was all water. During that year, State Street, Main Street, and Salt Lake were sandbagged because they were literally rivers. Well, what had happened is all the way from Bryce Canyon, all the way up to Delta, that the pioneers had built to water their crops, they all burst. So all the water came rushing down here. South of here, about 6 miles, there are 2 little communities called Deseret and Oasis. It literally wiped 30 homes off their foundation and just sent them out to their lake, which had always been dry until then. But in 1983, it was larger than Utah Lake. In fact, out on the desert, there was so much water that from the Great Salt Lake, because it was flooding too, to the Sevier Lake, there was only about 30 miles. They would have connected if there had been more. Okay, now this farm that you're coming up to off to your left, house and a couple of buildings with the tin roof. You can see it's got pine board, the windows are gone, etc. That is the Topaz Recreation Hall, just exactly like the one you were in at the museum. If you don't take care of it on the ground. Okay, this area is called, this is where I grew up on a farm. And around our farm, there were about 4 buildings that were mess halls. Now, mess halls were really wide and they had a domed roof. They were great for storing your bales, parking your tractors, etc. So those buildings, they weren't sound as the recreation halls, the barracks, hospital, etc. And literally, I remember riding my bike as a kid by some of those buildings, and if the wind was blowing, you just feel those buildings going back and forth. They've all blown over because they were so rickety and so poorly built.
That take breaking pretzels.
Okay, so we're going to be going through the heart of my hometown. Don't blink, or you're going to miss it. Most of the homes out here are about a half a mile apart. And the center of our town that we're going to be going through used to have a school, a church, a service station,